welcome to the world of a creative who just recorded this whole thing and realized that the batteries had died right at the beginning. Hi! How you doing? So I wanted to just very briefly just give a hello to everybody and a very quick thank you to everybody and a little update on what I'm doing and what's coming next. First of all, thank you to everyone who participated in the rollout of the 62 album. I was just overjoyed. We did a 4-hour and almost 4.5-hour live stream of the premiere of the album, and a bunch of people came and stayed the whole time in chat in 3 different places. I had people in Bandcamp, I had people in YouTube, I had people in Facebook, and a grand time was had by all. It was lovely. You guys really made it a very special night for me. And a bunch of people came and followed me on Bandcamp and bought my discography and followed me on YouTube and on Facebook. I'm just kind of overwhelmed and overjoyed and grateful, because when you do it in a room like this by yourself all the time, it becomes a very solitary exercise, and having your participation means the world to me. It really does. It's kind of a validation. You know, I do it out of love, but when other people love it too, I have a couple of specific people that I have to thank. First and foremost, my wife, who puts up with all of this crazy nonsense that I do in this place. And to Julian, who's an inspiration, always. But I want to thank Dave and Caroline Lee from the UK, who have a wonderful podcast called The Bugcast. It goes every week. Dave and Caroline have been supporters of mine for a decade now. I think it's about a decade, maybe even longer. They've been playing an outro track on their podcast of an instrumental of mine called Man Walking, which is, there's a remaster on the 62 album. And they actually devoted time this week in their podcast to talk about the album, and also to not just use a little snippet like they usually do every week, but they played the new remastered version in its entirety, and I was so grateful. You guys have been there for me for a long time, and I wanted to thank you publicly. And on the same note, Steve Wheatley, who has the Dalecast, Steve's actually the way that Dave and Caroline found out about me to begin with. Steve was his cast was off the air for a long time, but he's back and he's playing my tracks again. And Steve, it's really great to have you back, and thank you as always for playing my stuff. And lastly, in that department, Anna Alma, who plays my tracks every week. I mean, every week, and I'm just bowled over and grateful. So thank you all for helping spread the word. In case I didn't already, thank you to everybody who's now following me on Bandcamp and YouTube and Facebook on my artist page. It means the world to me. Now, what's coming up next? A couple of things. First of all, for those of you who don't know, 62 is an album of 62 songs. They are not all new songs, and some of them are not new recordings. There are 21 new recordings on that album. But there are also remasters and remixes. There is nothing that went onto that album untouched. So there are old recordings, but everything has been redone in one way or the other. Well, some of those recordings actually had videos to go along with them. And what I've been in the process of, and I've been in the process for probably a month and a half now, is upscaling and remastering, and in some cases using AI to clean up just bad video that was done a long time ago when I didn't have another option. And over the ensuing 2 to 3 weeks, you're going to start seeing me roll out videos. Some of them you may have seen, some of them you probably haven't, depending. But you're going to see new videos rolled out to go along with the soundtracks of the stuff that's just been re-released or released. But also in the video department, I'm not just leaning back on old stuff. You know, I have like 5 video scripts in my head right now. But one of them I just started working on about a week ago. And I'm not going to say too much about it, but I am going to give you a tiny, tiny little tease. It's just too much fun. Here, look.
Caroline wants to play outside. Mama says it's raining. has on her boots and she's ready. Daddy says no complaining.
Yeah, so that's actually motion capture. That's my body movements and my facial movements, and just to do a single run through of that with edits and cleanup was like 6 hours. It's a lot of work, and that's in the very early stages. I have a lot. Anybody who's seen my videos know they're complex and they're kind of like my stuff. So it's going to be a while before that comes out. But when that snowball starts rolling downhill, it rolls down pretty fast. It's just a lot that has to be done for this one. But I'm very excited to get it done and finished and out to you guys. And separate and apart from that, I have another video which I think is probably going to be somewhat along the lines of a Night of the Living Dead, an homage. And I have another one that's like post-apocalyptic, and I have another. Never mind. I could just go on and on. I could go on, and your time is valuable. But and besides that, I still have like 9 other songs that I'm in the midst of recording, and I have planned for the spring an instrumental album. Some of that's already recorded as well. So there's a lot in the Mark hopper right now, and I'm grateful that you're here to share it all with me. And I'm greatly appreciative that you give me your time. I know time's valuable. And so with that, I will close just by saying, if you're not following me, if you want updates on what I'm doing, you can follow me on Bandcamp or on YouTube or on my Facebook artist page, or you can just visit my website. You don't have to pay anything for any of those things. If you want to sign up at Patreon, you can sign up for updates without paying anything. You won't get everything. The people who toss me a little bit of money, it's $5 a month, they get everything. I give them more often video updates, and I throw up rough tracks when I'm working on them, stuff like that. $5 a month actually helps support my work, and a portion of it I give to the Ulster County SPCA, who are not affiliated with the ASPCA. But that's a whole nother story. Anyway, you can find me in all those places, and as I've said, and I will continue to say, even after you're sick of it, I appreciate your attention and I appreciate your time. And if you want to keep up with me, those are all the places you can do it. At the very least, you can just go to my website, because I post there pretty often. Or just follow my artist page on Facebook, because I'm on Facebook pretty much all day long, because I do that for work too. Anyway, thank you to everybody. I appreciate you, and I appreciate your time and your presence here in this space for a little bit. Much love to you and yours from here, and I will talk to you all soon. You take good care, and thanks again.